explained the province is taking a targeted, risk-based and data-driven rollout strategy.
Prioritizing infected farms that are located near buffalo populations, as well as newly diagnosed outbreaks with active transmission. Our focus is also on communal grazing areas and dairy farms which are located in close proximity to confirmed cases.
Ramokgopa described the escalation as a decisive step in controlling the outbreak. She added that containment measures are now fully in place, with law enforcement agencies mobilized and ongoing engagement with farmers and other stakeholders to help prevent further spread of the disease. Dimakatsele Shoro, Eyewitness News at the Gauteng Legislature.
Suspended Ekurhuleni head of Human Resources Linda Xeshega has taken the hot seat at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. Xeshega has been implicated in previous testimony of being part of a clique within the metro that shielded Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi from accountability. In 2023, police watchdog IPID recommended the municipality take disciplinary action against Mkhwanazi after its report found him guilty of fraud and corruption. The report found Mkhwanazi unlawfully entered the police department into a contract which entailed fitting blue lights into some private vehicles belonging to suspected crime boss Vusimuzikat Matlala. Opening her testimony this morning, Xeshega has denied all the allegations against her.
Firstly, I would like to, as stated in my statement, I refute the allegations that I have supported and participated in the usurpation of the powers of the Chief Executive Officer and I think the Executive Head as well, in terms of the Section 64C of SAPS Act.
The City of Cape Town says it is intensifying efforts to clamp down on water wastage, with major investment going into aging infrastructure as well as leak repairs. R500 million has been allocated this financial year to replace 50 kilometers of water pipes across the metro. The city's ATN Hugo.
What we also do is pressure management. That's basically to reduce the pressure or to regulate the pressure in the water supply system, to work within norms and standards to ensure that we don't have excessive pressures that can cause unnecessary burst pipes. And as we know, when a pipe bursts, then you lose the water.
Hugo has urged residents to play their part by cutting water use as well as reporting leaks.
They are our eyes and ears because they cover the entire city. We've got over 11,000 kilometers of water pipes, so we don't have people that can look at that on a daily basis, whereas the residents that can actually look at it for us and report it through to the city's channels so that we can get to it and repair that.
Some tax experts believe VAT modernization efforts at SARS could boost tax relief in future budgets. The 2026 budget delivered by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana in Parliament yesterday has brought a fair amount of good news to South African households. These include threshold increases for tax-free savings and tax-deductible retirement contributions. Inflation-linked increases on personal income tax brackets and rebates will also provide some relief to consumers thanks to the 21 billion rand in additional tax revenue collected over the last year. CEO of VAT Modernization, Shannon Friedman, says attempts to make the tax system more efficient are starting to pay off.
However, it is important to note that SARS's modernization efforts and its benefits do not end here. Rather, as part of its 5-year strategy, SARS has announced its Modernization 3.0 project to tackle the 800 billion rands worth of existing tax leakage. All in all, it represents a major opportunity to strengthen the fiscus even further and allow South Africans to reap the benefits.
And a Greek court has sentenced 4 suspects to 8 years in prison over a spyware scandal that shook government in 2022. An investigative journalist discovered he had been wiretapped by the country's intelligence services and his phone had been infected with predator spyware. Dubbed the Greek Watergate by local media, it forced the resignation of senior officials in the Prime Minister's administration. According to the Greek Authority for Communication, Security and Privacy watchdog, the software was used against more than 90 people. Gold is trading at $5,179.99 an ounce. The rand is at 15.89 to the dollar, 21.49 to the pound, 18.75 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $70.85 a barrel.
In Centurion, heading towards the Pretoria CBD, expect about a 30-minute delay on the N14 northbound from the N1 Brakfontein interchange to Jean Avenue. This is all due to roadworks. Melrose also expects some delays. M1 southbound from Colet to Killarney Bends, and in the Mother City, heavy delays on the M3 southbound approaching Newlands Avenue.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated afternoon showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 27 and 28 degrees, while Cape Town is partly cloudy with a moderate southerly wind at a high of 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Gauteng Department of Agriculture is ramping up efforts to contain the foot and mouth disease outbreak.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Coming up on the show today, the latest from the post-budget briefing and the post-cabinet briefing. Helen Zille announces 50 Action SA members joining the DA. The ANC on the City of Cape Town's land auction. Vusimuzi Kat Matlala appears in court. And our book of the week is about bossing your money. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app. DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Great to be with you today. I know there's been lots of post-budget analysis. We'll speak a little bit about that today in light of the budget briefing breakfast this morning. Nokukanya Mtambo was there for us. If there's anything you feel that we haven't discussed around the budget, I'd love to hear from you on that. But I think the long and the short of it is tax breaks, invest money. They've made it easier for you to invest money and to save money, and unfortunately spend less on alcohol and cigarettes. Our book today is such a great book that will talk to you about how to invest your money. It's called Boss Your Money, Learn the Wealth Creation Formula. It's so practical, just in terms of how does insurance work, how do multiple revenue streams work, all of the stuff that you don't know that you should know. So make sure you listen into that. A lot going on today, the Madlanga Inquiry, the ad hoc committee as well. And we're going to start there because Sullivan, the forensic investigator, is taking some heat from the MK, from Julius Malema as well. He's been speaking about his role in so many policing matters over the years. He spoke about how he took Colonel Ganinda on a trip to the Czech Republic when he was investigating Radovan Krejča. He spoke about how actually he was not involved in the investigation in the Pala matter. But let's take a listen in there where Julius Malema is currently asking a question of Paulo Sullivan at the ad hoc committee on policing.
You don't have electronic engineering. You're not an engineer.
Chairman, that's not the case. I was registered as an engineer, and if you even go to, you're obviously referring to the what do you call it? This 90 whatever page document that AXA supplied.
No, I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to our discussion, me and you. You confirm that you're an electronic engineer. I'm saying you are not.
I am, yeah. I'm not now. I ceased practicing.
No. Qualification doesn't matter now or in the 50s. Or if you're a teacher until death.
Not necessarily.
You are qualified.
No,
you might not be teaching, but your qualification is teaching. Is a teacher.
Yeah, so in engineering, Chairman, you have to do what they call CPE, which is continual professional, or CPD, continual professional development. And
no.
you have to register so many hours each year the way you've continued with your professional development as an engineer. The same applies to lawyers, it applies to accountants, it applies to that.
That's a professional engineer. You don't have a qualification in electronic engineering that makes you an engineer.
Yeah.
Whether you're still practicing or not, that is material, because that thing you are referring to, it's required when you are continuing to practice so that you can be regarded as professional engineer. You are not You do not have a qualification in electronic engineering.
No, it's not true, Chairman. Unfortunately, the member is wrong. And if you look at page 34 of the documents which Axis submitted, it's there very clear, and this is not me that submitted this document, the Association of Supervisory and Executive Engineers. I was a member from the first day of March 1979. It's on page 34. There's another one. If I can find the page quickly, I saw it there somewhere. But I was registered with two institutions in the UK. I was registered with that, and that registration fell away in the 90s because I no longer practice engineering.
My guy, Mr. O'Sullivan, I'm saying there is a difference between having a qualification on electronics, which makes you a technician, and a qualification in electronic engineering. There's a huge difference. So, if anything, if we're to go by anything that you said and accept it, you have a qualification in electronics, not in electronic engineering. And you are a technician.
Wrong, Chairman. I was registered with the Institute of Engineers. With this and other qualifications, I was registered. So if we're going to sit here and pick through the bones of something 50 years ago or 40 years ago, I'm just not sure where this actually goes, other than a further attempt to discredit me as a witness.
No, Mr. O'Sullivan, we are sitting here to investigate interference, and there are allegations that you have infiltrated us, and therefore your character is very important. You are not going to try to destabilize us here by saying, if we're sitting here for 50 years ago, you came here so many years ago, we are trying to find out how did you enter here. And to enter here, you would have made certain declarations, and we're trying to probe you on those declarations. There's nothing that has expired here. It's extremely relevant to the question of you being an infiltrator in this country. And an infiltrator will misrepresent the credentials. And this is relevant in that context. So, when you applied for your citizenship, you declared your highest qualification, which we now understand that actually that qualification, you completed it within a year. You become an engineer through a qualification that is done within a year.
Chairman, when I became a citizen in this country, it wasn't based on any qualifications. I was accepted as a permanent resident in 1989 based on being a person of independent means. I didn't come here to work as this or work as that. I came here as an investor. And in 1995, when I became a citizen, I didn't make any declaration about what I was or who I was. My only declaration was that I'd lived continuously in the country for more than 5 years, and I took the oath of allegiance to South Africa based on the interim constitution, which was that I would faithfully serve the country.
Paulo Sullivan there defending his citizenship in South Africa. Julius Malema raising questions about the efficacy of his degrees. Paulo Sullivan was always going to face some hostile questioning when he came to this ad hoc committee. I think that was always clear, and he is facing hostile questioning from Julius Malema and from the MK party as well, as he speaks about his long-term involvement. We know how involved he was in the Jackie Salibi case, in the Pahlani case, in the Kreitzer matter as well, Pala allegations there. Sure, this is like a news junkie's dream, watching Julius Malema face off against Paulo Sullivan. That's definitely one we're going to keep an eye on for you.
Good afternoon, 702 and the fellow listeners. My goodness, that Paulo Sullivan, the pompous self-importance, white supremacy, arrogance. You. The guy was never invited to come into this country. He begged to be here. And now he inserted himself in places where he had no business going in. Now he's expecting everybody to applaud him. You, Ukupile Kimang, who asked him to come here? Yeah, we don't want this guy in this country. People like him must just go back to wherever they came from. We don't want him. We don't need him. Now he wants us to applaud him, to clap hands for him. And now he has become like what? A standard. He must go. Atamai.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays 12 to 1 p.m.
Love that. Keep sending your WhatsApp voice notes 072 702 1702 072 567 1567. Yesterday was budget. Today was the post-budget breakfast addressed by the Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, attended by all manner of people from Treasury, from Brand South Africa, from government communications as well. Nokukanya Mtambo, EWN reporter, was there for us. Nokukanya, good afternoon to you. Take us through the comments from the Finance Minister today.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mandy, to you and the listeners as well. Obviously, yesterday we would have spent the entire day crunching the numbers, taking a look at what the fiscal picture for South Africa looks like. Obviously, an optimistic, sentiments coming from National Treasury and government more broadly, as well about the fiscal trajectory that the country is now on, the checks and balances in terms of a range of issues that government wanted to address, the issue of debt, the issue of spending and so on, slowly coming into, a more controlled manner. And that's the picture that we got yesterday. So a lot of what today was about was really just National Treasury getting to engage with small businesses, with other intergovernmental sectors, with, Brand South Africa as well, and just taking them into their confidence about what needs to be done. And I think one of the very interesting questions that came out of the conversations that were being had by Treasury, including Finance Minister, his two deputies and the DG, Duncan Peterson as well, was the question about outside of, the more positive response from not just government, the public as well, the consumers, small businesses, and the market response to this budget 2026. What then post what we saw yesterday in terms of the numbers? And the message really is clear. It's a question of implementation. Now that we're starting to get the macroeconomics in place, there's a number of things that still need to be done to make sure that South Africa's economy isn't growing, not just only growing, but also creating jobs in the process. So it's a question of implementation and getting that right now and making sure that all of the, the positive signs that the economy is starting to show actually pay off for South African citizens as well, and that they start to feel that as well. And so Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana really just taking Brand South Africa and the other small businesses into his confidence about the work that needs to now be put in over the next couple of months, in the medium term and in the longer term as well, post the next 3 years or so, in terms of what they need to do to then grow the economy and then to create jobs, which ultimately is what the South African economy is trying to do. And that in turn will then boost confidence, bring in investors, global investors, foreign currency as well into the country, and again, still boosting that picture.
And what does Brand South Africa say in response to the budget?
Also quite optimistic, welcoming the conversations that they've had with the National Treasury officials, not just today, but yesterday as well. And in the build-up to it, of course, it's not a one-day event, Mandy. These conversations constantly need to be had. And so from a Brand South Africa perspective, it's the conversation about boosting confidence in South Africa. So we look the part as a viable destination for investors. And that's the conversation that Brand South Africa has been having with National Treasury and government over the past couple of months about bringing those investors in. In fact, I'll have you listen to Zama Mkhosi, who is the deputy chair of the Board of Trustees at Brand SA, about the comments that she had to say to National Treasury today.
And what matters now is not repeating the message, but it is about making sure that we ensure that the trust is strengthened in our institutions, because a country's reputation improves when each of us play our part in showing that South Africa is serious about reform. So let's continue to work together to ensure that South Africa remains investable, South Africa remains stable, South Africa remains reform-oriented, and South Africa remains globally.
Thank you very much to Nokukanya Mtambo, EWN reporter, for that wrap of what happened at the post-budget breakfast earlier today. Make 2026 your year for personal growth. Apply now for mid-year intake of either the Master of Business Administration or Postgraduate Diploma in Business Administration programs at Wits Business School. The MBA and PDBA programs will equip you with the critical thinking and leadership skills necessary to face the challenges of the evolving world of work and business. Applications are now open for the July intake and close on the 30th of April. Visit wbs.ac.za for more info. Wits Business School, sculpting global leaders.
Guess what? The Dis-Chem 2+1 Health Foods Weekend is back, and this time it's better than ever. Simply pick any 3 of your favorite healthy foods and get the cheapest one free. Look out for the Better Rewards icon and score an extra 10% off Better Rewards brands on top of the promo. We're talking anything from muesli, oats, sauces, spices, healthy snacks, free from foods, and more. Don't miss Dis-Chem's 2+1 Health Foods Weekend, Friday 27 February to Sunday 1 March. Only at Dis-Chem, better health starts here.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing 2 generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Business and government are working together to tackle youth unemployment. Discover how with insights from Shami Suriana Rain.
Some of the barriers that employers face include young people not necessarily being able to advertise the skills that they actually have that are relevant for a job. For example, job postings will ask for things like 5 years of work experience for an entry-level job. We know that actually only 5% of jobs that are online can require less than a matric certificate, where we know from Harambe's own proof points that people with less than a matric or a matric can do many entry-level jobs. So there's a question of demand and supply mismatch. SA Youth simplifies this with a number of inclusive assessments like our behavioral screener and other tools like the inclusive CV. And this, we've actually conducted tests to show that this puts more young people that are ready and fit for purpose in front of employers.
These insights on building South Africa's workforce are brought to you by SA Youth on 702.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:24 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. An auction taking place today at 12 o'clock. It started at the Cape Town Stadium. Well, it was supposed to be at the Cape Town Stadium. Now it's being held online. And this is an auction of 50 pieces of land in Cape Town. There's been some consternation about this. The matter went to court. The court decided that the city of Cape Town could go ahead with selling this public land. A lot of the argument has been, well, why don't they use it for social housing when there's so little property in Cape Town? Why is the city of Cape Town not using this for social housing? So we're going to speak to the ANC about this. But first, take a listen to the Cape Town Mayor, Jordan Hill-Lewis, speaking to my colleague John Matham on Cape Talk about this.
We assess each of those properties. Most of the rest of the 52, if you go through that list, you'll see that they're actually very small single plots and small lots and so on. None of those are even remotely suitable. All of those that are suitable are actually in our pipeline and have either already been released to the market or in the process of being released to the market for social housing projects specifically. So it is not the case that every property must be social housing. I would also like to push back on this idea that there's no social benefit. There's absolutely. I mean, I have no doubt that you have a lot of callers concerned about the price of housing in Cape Town. We have to increase the supply of housing, particularly in the City Bowl area, inner city, wider Woodstock area, and around the other industrial nodes around the city, where many of these 52 properties are located. So when you increase the supply of housing, you can stabilize the price, or even over time, hopefully see it come down. That is very, very important for our city. We have to do that. I would much rather do that than see these plots lie fallow.
Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis there speaking to John Maytham on Cape Talk. Well, let's speak now to Cameron Dugmore, who's the programming whip at the ANC, about this. Cameron, good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. The caucus is condemning this decision to continue with this planned auction. Why is that?
Thanks very much. The main reason is that the properties that have been identified, and your clip with the mayor had him talk about that, are in fact able to be utilized for both social, affordable, and also what is referred to as gap housing. And I would encourage anyone to actually go and look at those 50 properties. So we're first of all saying there's a waiting list of over 400,000 people in Cape Town for housing. And these properties that are being auctioned, a large number of them in different communities, could be used for social housing, gap housing, and affordable housing. So we dispute what the mayor is saying. Secondly, I'm not sure if you're aware that the city is encouraging foreign companies and foreign individuals. If you look at the auction house website, you will see there that foreign individuals and companies can actually join this auction. So essentially, where there are foreign companies or individuals with strong currencies competing in an auction, the reality is that they are at a massive advantage. This isn't private property. In our country, private property, whether farmland or residential, can be purchased by foreigners. This is actually strategic state land, which we believe should be used for housing and also for the issue of land redistribution in the city. And by sort of allowing foreign companies to participate, you actually are contributing to a massive, even further rise in Cape Town property prices. A lot of people just simply cannot afford to buy anything in Cape Town. You look.
I really understand that, because a lot of people are really frustrated with the price of property. But don't we want foreign direct investment? If we're after economic growth in the country, isn't this something that we want to achieve? Is foreigners investing in South Africa?
Absolutely, and foreign direct investment flowing from the President's summits is resulting in investments in companies, in businesses, and private individuals buying property. But what we're talking about here, Mandy, is state land, municipal land in the city of Cape Town, which could be utilized. The state, we would argue, has a responsibility to provide, in terms of the Constitution, access over time to affordable housing, health, etc. And what we believe the DA is doing here is completely against that. And that's why we are actually now, as the ANC, engaging with the Minister of Human Settlements about declaring an intergovernmental dispute. We were not involved in those court cases, but we believe this is a prime case for an intergovernmental dispute, so that we can actually, you would recall, we had to, through government, interdict the city who wanted to sell the Tafelberg prime property in Sea Point. They were blocked there because that was a national law called Guiama. And then also the SABC building in Sea Point, where an interdict actually happened to keep that in public hands. Similarly here, this is denying the people of Cape Town access to affordable housing. Number two, it's completely overpricing the housing market, and we believe there's a strong case here to declare an intergovernmental dispute and actually also amend the Municipal Finance Management Act, which defines, that it says clearly, municipalities cannot alienate or sell land that is needed for basic services. And we would argue that human settlements housing is part of that definition of basic services. So I think what's happening in the city is very dangerous, it's scandalous, and it's actually selling the crown jewels to people not from our country and who don't need that property for human settlements and land redistribution.
Cameron, thank you very much for your time. Cameron Dugmore, programming whip at the ANC, explaining that that auction was due to get underway online at 12 o'clock today. I do wonder if there's an intergovernmental dispute, if the horse is not bolted, if those properties are sold. But there you heard from the Mayor of Cape Town, his interview with John Maytham, and the response there from the ANC. Cape Town residents, what are your thoughts on that? Send me a WhatsApp voice note. 12:31, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. The city of Ekurhuleni has been plunged into further political instability following the resignation of Jongizizwe Tlhabati as the finance MMC. Eyewitness News understands Tlhabati is also resigning as the ANC's regional secretary following a reported fallout with regional chairperson Ekurhuleni Mayor Dr. Xhakaza. The pair held a media briefing last Friday where they assured the residents of Ekurhuleni that the city was stable. However, over the past week, the EFF has pulled out of the ANC-led coalition government in the city, with Action SA also refusing offers to join. DA mayoral candidate in Johannesburg, Helen Zille, has welcomed Madlanga Inquiry to the Blue Party. Zille also announced that more than 50 other individuals believed to be members of Action SA have joined her party. The DA says Inquiry and the group resigned from Action SA due to dissatisfaction with the leadership of Herman Mashaba. And the Gauteng Department of Agriculture is ramping up efforts to contain the foot and mouth disease outbreak. 70,000 vaccine doses have been allocated to the province from a national procurement of 1 million. Speaking to the media this morning, MEC Vuyiswa Ramokgopa says the department has secured the doses as part of an intensified national response. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 1 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Anthony Teixeira. The West Indies 89-7 against the Proteas after the South African Quicks have taken them down. Now it all started with the South Africans winning the toss and electing to bowl first as the Windies and them are meeting in their Super 8s clash at the T20 Cricket World Cup. At first look, it looked like the wrong choice as Keshav Maharaj went for 17 from the first over. However, 2 overs later, Chris Rabada had managed to get a double breakthrough, and the very next over, Lungu Ngidi did exactly the same. Corbin then claimed Rutherford's wicket as it was a top edge to Quinton de Kock, and in the last 15 minutes, Powell and Ford have also been dismissed. Still to come at the World Cup at 3:30 as the co-hosts India up against Zimbabwe. For the Proteas women, they're currently on a 5-match ODI win streak. The latest was a 16-run win over Pakistan as they sealed the ODI series ahead of the final match on Sunday. In football, UEFA Champions League's roadmap to the playoffs will be decided tomorrow, with last night seeing the playoffs conclude. Record winners Real Madrid winning 3-1 on aggregate over Benfica. Holders PSG beat Monaco 5-4 on aggregate, while Juventus and Borussia Dortmund were knocked out by Galatasaray and Atalanta respectively. In the Europa League this evening, Nottingham Forest have a 3-goal lead to defend as they host Turkish side Fenerbahce in their playoff second leg. After back-to-back United Rugby Championship losses and losing top of the table, the Stormers will be heading to the Lions this weekend. However, due to the Springbok resting protocols, it's likely that Damian Willemse, Sasha Feinberg and Ngomazulu won't be part of it. Here's their attack coach, Neyman.
Damian's in the building. I'm not sure if he's allowed to play. So, Sasha was also, he's got an individual arrangement, So, do respect the amount of rest they need. So, we'll definitely look after them. And it's important for us, to have them at the back end of the competition well rested and actually ready to take on a full season from that point of view, because they still have to play for the Springboks.
Switching to golf now, where the SA Open has Herman Laubser as the early first-round leader. He's one clear of the field on 4 under par through 16 holes. 5-time winner Ernie Els has just teed off alongside a 2025 winner Dylan Naidu. And a final quick look at the Proteas score sees midway through the 13th over, the West Indies 92 for the loss of 7 wickets. Anthony Teixeira, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour, if you're heading into the Pretoria CBD, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay. This is in Centurion on the N14 northbound from the N1 Brakfontein interchange all the way to Jean Avenue due to ongoing roadworks. Melrose traveling towards the Joburg CBD. Expect some delays on the M1 southbound between Collet and Killarney Bends. While in the mother city, there's slow-moving traffic. M3 southbound approaching Newlands Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, kindly WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Growing a business is a 24/7 job. In fact, 55% of small business owners say they can never switch off. Usually it's personal moments like missed date nights and long overdue holidays that pay the price. Xero wants to help you claim one back with an emotional tax return. To enter, share a moment you missed while growing your business on Instagram stories and tag @Xero, spelled with an X. competition ends 22nd March. T's and C's apply.
Pedal Power Association proudly supports the Cape Town Cycle Tour, and it's more than just a ride, as every entry helps change a life. Proceeds from the race are donated to communities in need, opening doors to education, work and independence. And for every 20 cyclists who enter from Jozi, one bicycle is donated to a community in need. So when you pedal, you're not just riding for yourself, you're helping communities move forward. Go to capetowncycletour.com, proudly supported by Prime Media Cares.
Volpes, your home of linen, is giving you 20% off everything this weekend. Yes, that's 20% off bed linen, curtains, pillows, towels and more. Hurry to your nearest Volpes store or shop online at bash.com. But don't wait, this offer's valid until Sunday only. Volpes, made by South Africans, loved by South Africans.
When the Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702, brings you Z, Focalistic, Dali Wonga, Zoe Mudira, and more. Fashion, art, and music will take center stage. And so can you by playing the daily Mahindra Fusion Fest quiz on 702 for up to 10,000 Rand and 2 tickets to the fest. WhatsApp the keyword Mahindra to 072-702-1702 with your name and ID number. Every day this week from 1 p.m., 702 afternoons with Rebukile Mabucha could call you back. The Mahindra Fusion Fest 2026, powered by 702. TC's and more on primemediaplus.com.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Why doesn't Cameron Dugmore ask the ANC why they can't use hectares of vacant land at Youngsfield for the housing he's talking about? Eric in Constantia.
Mr. Sullivan is in fact a ray of light in our dark South African country. And the likes of individuals who don't have the integrity or the righteousness or even remotely any degree of respect for other people. I don't have to mention names. His voice is mentioned now. When you hear that voice, all you want to do is, when is he going to jail? When is he going to actually do in accordance to the law that he's broken and that he continues to break with his continuous effort to cause division in our country, South Africa, for what it's worth, my opinion. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hey, my guy. Did you hear Julius Malema earlier to Paul Sullivan? My guy. Look, I think that either you love Paul Sullivan or you hate Paul Sullivan. I think he's a very polarizing character. We know he's played a massive role in unveiling corruption against so many police commissioners. Lots of questions always throughout the last 10, 20 years about his legitimacy and his standing in doing so. On the WhatsApp line, Mandy, ANC always opposes everything in Cape Town. Court have agreed with the Cape Town government to sell their property that will create job opportunities to people in the Western Cape. Joburg is full of informal settlements. ANC didn't see anything wrong with that. So, yep, lots of messages coming through, falling on both sides there of this dispute around the properties in Cape Town that have gone on auction.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
The DA's mayoral candidate in Joburg, Helen Zille, hosting a briefing today, announcing that around 50 members of Action SA have joined the DA. Alpha Ramashwana, EWN reporter, is there for us. Alpha, talk us through what's happened there.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Yes, so Helen Zille, the DA's mayoral candidate in the city of Johannesburg, was in Soweto earlier today, and she addressed a presser just as she was about to speak about a few members of Action SA, or a few people who were wearing Action SA regalia rather, came and climbed the stage, took off the Action SA regalia and put on the DA's merchandise. Only one of them we know for a fact that was a member of Action SA. His name is Mandla Nyakula. He was a peer councillor in the city and he held a position in the city council. He confirmed that he resigned as an Action SA councillor this morning. But the other members who claimed to be members of Action SA, who are also wearing the party's regalia, we were not able to verify whether or not they are indeed Action SA members. We did ask the question to Helen Zille whether she has verified personally if these people were indeed Action SA members, and she said that it's a question she can't answer and she can't verify the membership of another political organization. But for sure, we know that only one of them was a member, and it's currently unclear if the others were indeed members of Action SA, Mandy. So Helen Zilla's campaign in Johannesburg is in swing, welcoming members of Action SA to the Blue Party.
Alpha, thank you very much. I actually know Mandla Nyakela. I've dealt with him quite a bit in the past. When I did that investigation into Buisa, the guy who's holding Hector Peterson in the June 16th photograph, he was very involved with the family in that matter. He has been a counsellor for other parties in the past as well. So interesting. I think Helen Zille is campaigning hard. If you follow her on social media, you can see every day she's doing something, she's out there. And I still don't think the ANC knows who their candidate is for Joburg Mayor. Will it be Luisa Masuku? Who's it going to be? I think the ANC is leaving this a bit late. I think they really need to be aware of how hard Helen Zille is campaigning.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
The 2030 Reading Panel report was revealed this week, which tells us that only 3 in 10 South African learners are reading at grade level by grade 3. So really, really concerning. Only 30% of learners in grades 1 to 3 are reading at grade level in their home language. But what is encouraging is the work being done to remedy this. Let's unpack this now with Professor Faranaz Veriava, who's the head of education at Section 27. Prof, good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time today. Do these results surprise you?
Hi, Mandy. Just to say I'm no longer at Section 27. I'm at the University of Pretoria.
Apologies for that. We'll make sure that
that's fine.
I need to learn to read for meaning, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's your fault. Look, the results do not surprise me. The results are consistent with what the Pearl study, 2021 study, have shown previously. In that period, we have been closely studying different best practices in other countries. We've been looking at various evidence-based interventions, and different provinces have been piloting new foundation phase literacy projects based on these evidence-based interventions. So like you said, there's a lot that's good, that's starting to happen, but not enough yet to shift the dial. What we need is to make sure that we increasing these interventions across all provinces, and that the National Department of Basic Education makes reading a priority. While they're saying the right things, they need to make it a policy priority right now.
The panel saying that 6 provinces are implementing large-scale interventions. You're saying, of course, that all the provinces need to intervene. But the time for diagnosis is no longer enough. We actually have to make sure we remedy this.
Exactly, and we need to do it as a matter of urgency because every child lost in the system is a child whose potential, is lost forever, potentially. So, yesterday I haven't studied the budget properly yet, but even the budget for me was very disappointing when I was hearing for clues as to commitment to foundation phase. So I know that they mentioned some things about grade R and the increase in the contribution to grade R. And grade R is very important, as we know, for literacy. But there was nothing, to my knowledge, unless I missed it, being said on foundation phase basic literacy. So that for me was very disappointing. I also think that we need to have certain basic benchmarks and commitments from national to ensure that every province is doing certain things. So we know, for example, that we need a minimum package of classroom resources. Some provinces are doing it now with funding from philanthropic organizations and so forth, but we need to make sure that every province is doing it. We know that there's currently a review by the Committee for Higher Education looking at what kind, in ensuring uniformity in the training of teachers for foundation phase. What we need to do is make sure that teachers currently teaching foundation phase, that they are being upskilled, that there are enough teachers going into these posts that can teach foundation phase literacy in ways that it's supposed to be taught. So we've diagnosed the problem. What we need to do is start treating the problem and treating it with the urgency and commitment that is required.
Prof, sorry to interrupt you. We saw the Minister of Finance yesterday allocating more money to basic education. Is this a budget thing or is it more complex?
I think it's both. And how the budget is allocated needs to be more clearly determined when it comes to foundation phase. Also, you need to know that while the budget increases every year, and I'm a lawyer, I'm not an economist, but how the budget is allocated every year is largely determined by the provinces. And unless you are coming with national commitments and insisting that or ensuring that provinces are spending according to what national priorities are, that is not going to happen.
Prof, thank you so much for your time. Professor Farinaz Verieva speaking to us there, having a look at that reading panel report that was released yesterday, which shows us really alarming data. It essentially tells us that only 30% of learners in grades 1 to 3 are reading at grade level in their home language.
The outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a shift worker making his way home and daydreaming about his next career move, his next chapter. The outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a possible light bulb moment that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Morning, sir.
Hey, got up the shop.
Topping up.
Yeah. Hey, remember when our coffee didn't taste this good?
And when the Wi-Fi dropped 3 times a day?
Yo, my
good
man.
times.
Now we've leveled up. High-speed Wi-Fi, private spaces, on-site support. This place runs like a machine.
Yo, flippin' seamless.
Yeah, that's WeWork, eh?
And my team's like loving it, eh? Productivity's up. No one's fighting over the fridge.
Yeah, I know. It's the dream.
WeWork, Africa's largest co-working spaces. WeWork.co.za. Made for work, built for business.
Small businesses are anything but small. They're the backbone of our communities. The dreamers, the doers, the ones who keep Mzansi moving forward. That's why 702 and Capitec Business Banking are putting them in the spotlight. Every Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m., catch Small Business Focus with Capitec, where we showcase the hustle, heart, and the secrets to thriving in today's economy. Your vision matters, and with Capitec, you're never building it alone. Small Business Focus with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Thursdays between 6 and 8 p.m. on 702. Capitec Bank is an authorized FSP 46669.
702 and Cape Talk.
Book of the Week.
It's a Thursday, and on Thursdays in the Midday Report, we speak to the author of a local non-fiction book. And today, the book it's different to what we would normally do, but I picked this up and I paged through it, and then I started reading it, and I thought, sure, there's so much value in this. It's called Boss Your Money, Learn the Wealth Creation Formula from Nkuhle Khumalo. And essentially what this is a no-fluff guide to building wealth in South Africa. It's written by someone who's asked all the same questions we all have about work and salary negotiations, saving, investing, buying your first car or your home, and it's told with really practical advice, with honesty, with humor. And if financial freedom is your dream, this is your starting point to mastering the wealth creation formula. So a pleasure to welcome Nkuhle to the Midday Report today. She's a chartered accountant, a personal finance content creator, and the author of this book. Nkuhle, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Mandy. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. What made you decide that this book needed to be written?
I think I was just personally tired of getting an answer that was really vague when I asked people how to make sure I become wealthy. I feel like the answer is always, it depends, but no one actually goes into the details. So I was like, hey, let me figure it out and write a book.
This book is different to other personal finance books. I find that it's really, really practical. Like, it tells you how to buy your first car, how to negotiate a contract. What was your intention here?
Well, thank you. At least I know I did my job right. It was just because I felt like other finance books were sometimes not based in South Africa. You had to do a lot of translating to, if they're doing an ROI, what's that in South Africa? But also some of the other local books are written by slightly older people who've obviously earned their stripes, and I love it. But as a young person, sometimes we want a lot more practical, straight to the point, and not so much the nostalgia of, things were so much better back then, or things are better now. So that's what this book was hoping to do, essentially. Grab it, read it, and know what to do straight after.
It's those things that you maybe aren't taught if you don't have generational wealth, for example, or like insurance. I love the intro to the insurance chapter. It speaks about how you've just started a new job, your 300,000 Rand car is brand new, the thought of being in an accident and having it written off probably doesn't cross your mind. So it goes really practical in terms of, for those people who may not have been taught these things by their parents or by their friends or whoever it might be, so that they can navigate their way.
Yes, it actually even talks about the things that we don't even think about. So life insurance is a part where I'm like, sometimes people are over-insured because, we never think of, do we really need to insure this? And I got this concept once where someone said, insure the things that could bankrupt you. So if you just started a job, a car for 300,000, of course, that's stressful. But if you've got 5 million in the bank account, a car for 300,000, you could replace that easily. So also knowing when to stop insuring things is important. Yeah.
And importantly, the cost of having children, the cost of getting a divorce, those are things that you look at as well.
Mm-hmm. Because when you remove the emotions out of things, you need to realize that these things cost money. And oftentimes people who've gone through it don't tell you the full story. So I try to quantify it. I'm actually trying to be a mom soon. So I was like, no, come on, someone needs to tell me, what does it really cost? And often my parents and my cousins, everyone's just like, everything works out. Life always unfolds well. But if you're someone who's practical and loves to think ahead, I'm not saying you'll be perfect when you read this book, but at least it'll give you somewhat of a figure that should you plan to have a child, this is how much you should look to have just on the side.
We had the budget yesterday, obviously. How does Boss Your Money address issues like debt, rising living costs, economic uncertainty for South Africans?
I actually enjoyed the budget speech yesterday so much because I felt like it was some good news. And when you read Boss Your Money, there's like a little glossary at the front. So one of the things that South Africa is trying to do is diversify the income because we're very reliant on international trade. And when Trump does things, like, it obviously shakes up our whole country. But when you apply that to your personal finances, we also speak about that in Boss Your Money. Diversify your income. Yes, your salary is great, your job is great, but don't let that be the only source of income that you have, because should something happen, then your whole world is like thrown off. So that's why we speak about investing, where you make your money work for you. So I think Boss Your Money actually came out at the perfect time. I'm really, really pleased with Pat McMillan, honestly.
Well, also on that point, I mean, you speak about how side hustles can become your main hustle, and how to balance side hustles, multiple revenue streams, effectively.
And I say this because a lot of people hear, you need to have side hustles, multiple streams of income, but we usually forget the leg of multiple streams of stress, because when you've got a lot of jobs, you've got a lot of stress. But here in the Boss Your Money book, which is available at exclusive books for anyone listening, we also talk about being careful of always exchanging your time. So a lot of these jobs that you do take away your time, and time is finite. So when you actually make your money work for you, that's when you invest and let other people do the work, but you hopefully will get the benefit of it. So just, changing the way you think about your money. You don't have to work hard for every single rand that you earn. Sometimes you can let other people work and you receive the money back.
It's so interesting because many people feel anxious or ashamed to discuss money. And a lot of what you're doing in this book is changing that narrative.
We need to talk. I feel like a lot of the things in this world could be resolved if people talked more, So when it comes to money, there's like a current theme of you don't talk about money, it's taboo, you don't ask people how much they earn. In this book, I actually say we need to talk more about it. Obviously, picking your rooms and picking your people, you're not just going to ask a random stranger how much they earn. But within your friends and your family groups, I think we should allow for those conversations to happen because a lot of people are actually getting less than what they deserve just because they don't know what they should be asking. And if we can pass on that knowledge, for example, if I've made a mistake buying a car, you shouldn't make that same mistake, Mandy. I can help you. And vice versa. If you've bought a house and I'm looking to buy one, you can tell me, be careful of this. So normalizing these chats really does help. Even with marriage, discussing the anti-nuptial contract or prenup. A lot of people are scared and anxious because it seems like such a weird conversation to have, but it's a good one. People should talk about it.
And how important, Nkukule, do you think it is that you are a black woman writing about this? How do you feel that your upbringing, your background contributes to this conversation?
It's so funny. I was telling my husband that I'm so tired of addressing things. I just want to relax and not address everything. But I also can't keep quiet when I see a lot of injustice. So I really do think it's great. I'm really happy to have the platform to write it. But I also do feel like I then am able to address things that Black people experience, that women experience, and Black women. So it's a triple bonus for me. But yeah.
And if someone's listening right now and they want to start bossing their money today, what would you advise? They need to buy your book, obviously, but what are the first 3 steps they should take?
100%. They need to buy the book. And I said exclusive books, but I know Take-A-Lot has a lot of specials, so they should check there. But even if people don't buy the book, I think people just need to understand their money. Just sit down and ask yourself, how much money do I make and how much am I spending every single month? Does this make sense? Understand the inflows as well. So sometimes you earn money on the 25th and you get some on the 15th, you get some on the 3rd. Understand those things because some people aren't actually broke. They just have a bit of cash flow issues. But once you've drawn up this table and you know exactly you're getting this much on this day, you're paying this much on this day, it'll give you a better image. And if you're not happy with what you're seeing, then you can change, okay? A budget is not meant to be some financial diet. You're just drawing up what actually happens. So if you like cake, put in the amount for cake and, see how it works out. That's what I would say.
Yeah, financial advisors always tell you to stop buying coffee every day. I think that's nonsense.
I also think so. Coffee is not going to buy a car. And if it makes you happy and productive, keep doing it.
Nkukule, thank you so much. I've loved chatting to you. Nkukule Khumalo is the author of Boss Your Money, Learn the Wealth Creation Formula. There's so much value in this. If you want to have financial freedom, if you want to master the wealth creation formula, a lot of this is about how to create generational wealth. Great practical tips in this book.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
Well, thank you so much for listening today. I think the big thing is to watch Paulo Sullivan still under cross-examination at the ad hoc committee. I think that's a big one. For the cricket fans, the West Indies have made a bit of a recovery, which is not great. They're on 151 for 7 after 17 overs. We're getting clapped around a bit. Holders just hit a big 6. So we need to rein that in. But I'm sure our batsmen are ready for that. So watch that this afternoon. It's 1 o'clock, time for Eyewitness News.
This is EWN.
Ekurhuleni Finance MMC steps down and Gauteng ramps up fight against foot and mouth outbreak as cases rise sharply. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Malapo. The city of Ekurhuleni has been plunged into further political instability following the resignation of Jongizizwe Tlhabati as the finance MMC. Eyewitness News understands Tlhabati is also resigning as the ANC's secretary following a reported fallout with regional chairperson Ekurhuleni Mayor Dr. Xhakaza. The pair held a media briefing last Friday where they assured the residents of Ekurhuleni